What's the process then? What does it entail for a business?
So in terms of SECR reporting, it's what we do at Consultus. So we would go through and we'd confirm all entities and sites to start with. That would be confirmed by the client. We would then look at the data collection process, and for SECR it's quite a lot of data is involved. It's mainly your electricity and gas data, but we also like to look at other fuels, transports, whether that's your fleet, your company vehicles, or employee transport as well. So it covers quite a wide range of data sources, obviously with the real emphasis on the emissions from it,
Sure.
which is where it's a little bit different to your ESOS, which is purely energy.
Okay, so you collect the data. What do we then do with that? What do they have to do?
So the data collection, once we've collected all of that, what we do is we would stick it into a SECR report template, which would then be submitted once the client's happy with it, in line with the company accounts. So that's done on an annual basis, and it's obviously in line with the company's financial accounting period. And we often do comparisons to years before, so it's quite good.
Yeah.
If you have 4 years of SECR reports, you can constantly go to the latest one. You can compare it each year to see how the company's faring from an emissions point of view or energy consumption.
Bro, and are there any penalties for non-compliance at all?
There are penalties for non-compliance. It's not quite as financially heavy as ESOS, but it is still a mandatory scheme. So there is a financial element to it, which is another sort of really pushes clients to do it as they actually have to.
Yeah. We lightly touched on it. So what are the key data areas that a customer will need to include in their report, and how do you help them with that process?
Yeah, so it's mainly going to be electricity and gas for a lot of clients. That's the bulk of the data we work with. We at Consultus, we tend to try and work with suppliers or use our internal systems to gather that data. And then you've got data that's more linked. It depends on what the client is, what type of company they are. Some clients, they might use a lot of diesel on site. You've got kerosene, petrol, you've got all sorts, aviation fuel even. It really depends. Depends on the client. So we would be collecting that as well. And then your transport data as well, which we would obviously need to get that from the client. So.
Yeah. So there's a fair bit of data to collect. I mean, what are the challenges that you see customers face?
I think there's quite a few challenges with data collection from that entire element for clients, because there might be some that haven't actually worked on SECR before, so they may not be used to actually have to go and speak to certain suppliers, or obviously we do the suppliers, but speak to certain people to get data. Some clients don't know who the best contact is because they've not had to do it before, so then they've got to go through, find out who's does what. So I think it's really good to be prepared in terms of what data they need to collect and when they need to get it by, which is why we tend to send out welcome emails a couple of weeks beforehand to really sort of highlight what we need at the start of the month. We need electricity, gas, transport, we need all of this, just to keep the clients in the loop, make them aware.
Yeah, sort of making sure, giving them early warning of what's needed, so they can start thinking about internally where to go and find that information.
Exactly. It's just a little reminder just to say, obviously it comes around every year. Sometimes the year goes past once you've submitted it and completely forget, and it's there again. Suddenly you've got to grapple and get data from everywhere. So,
but is that not something that we help them with in terms of gathering this data on a more regular basis, so that it doesn't cause that big rush?
Yeah, we look to gather data wherever we can. So if the client's got a couple of months of data, we can always collect that. But we always like to keep in consistent contact with our clients. We don't want to just leave it a year and then start again. So just be keeping in touch, whether they've got other services or whatever. So it's good to have that approach.
And what would you say, if a customer is following our advice and they are doing it in a methodical way, collecting their data on a regular basis, what are the benefits of doing that, would you say?
It leads to more accurate reports, end of the day. So the more streamlined the energy process is in terms of where they get the data from and even the speed of getting it, it will lead to more accurate energy consumption data that we submit in a report. And then obviously that's in line with your SECR emissions. So that's the whole point of SECR, is to track the company's emissions. So the more streamlined the the better the data is going to be, especially when you compare to previous years as well. So,
yeah. And in terms of your team and the role you do, what are the key things that you guys do to help customers? Why would a customer work with you instead of doing it themselves?
That's the question, isn't it? But no, our team, we curate the SECR process from start to finish. So we'll be in touch from the client right at the very start, as I said, to discuss the sites and entities. We'll do the data collection process. We'll go through the reporting process, and obviously we'll make sure throughout that they're happy. We like to have consistent communications, whether it's emails, regular phone calls, or Teams calls. So we like to be that presence so that if they're ever confused about something, they can come to us, because a lot of the time it's clients' first time doing it, so they won't be 100% confident. We don't want them to feel as if they can't ask us for any assistance or advice.